Hello, everyone. Kate Kauper here to talk with you about your paper assignments. I'll go over the prompt. I will talk a little bit about the writing process, and I will share with you a little bit about how you will be assessed on your writing. So the overarching aims for the paper assignment is we want to see that you've engaged with the themes raised by Coates in his letter to his son. We've provided some guidelines for ways to look for those themes, and I'll talk about those in a moment. And we'll also be engaging in a deep reflection of one's own writing through peer review of others' writing. So you have a few prompts that you can choose from. First of all, you're asked to write a 1,400 to 1,600 word essay that analyzes the themes in Coates's letter to my son. And you're going to choose one of the following prompts. And let me say before you choose a prompt, it's really important that in the selection of your prompt, you will be asked to write very closely to that prompt. In other words, you're going to be asked to answer the question or the idea in the prompt and not stray too far away. So the first option is to address this concept. Throughout his essay, Coates refers to the notion of a belief in being white. What does he mean by this phrase? And in this, consider the ways that Coates uses history to examine the idea of race and whiteness. And you might also draw from your viewing of Race, the Power of Illusion, or other essays that you have been introduced to, which may include James Baldwin's On Being White and Other Lies. A second option is to consider this, that Coates tells his son, I'm sorry that I cannot make it okay. I'm sorry that I cannot save you, but not that sorry. Here, we are asking you to take a position. Is this essay one of hope or despair? And in answering this question, you need to find evidence within the essay to support your position. The third option is to discuss what Coates means by the dream. To what dream is he referring? Is it similar to, or is it different from, the notion of the American dream? And how so? And again, here you're going to have to find evidence within the text, within the essay, to support your position and to support your answer to this question. And then finally, examine the ways Coates refers to the body throughout this essay. How does he describe the body, and what are the implications for writing about the body in these ways? And you might be, you might want to consider the metaphorical examination of the body, as well as the historic and current destruction of the Black body that Coates refers to. So here, the key requirements in responding to these prompts is that you're going to have a clear, convincing argument that is very tightly connected to the prompt that you've chosen. You're also going to support the argument that you are making using evidence, reason, logic, and examples from the text. You might pull from other texts that are closely related to Coates's essay, but it's really important that you stay as closely connected to Coates's essay as you possibly can. In other words, the majority of your emphasis should be on the essay that Coates wrote. And then finally, refer to the text specifically, but keep your quotations to a minimum. We've all already read Coates's essay, so we don't need you to pull large quantities of his words to put into your own. Instead, keep your quotations to a very minimum, use phrases, and keep them short. Any quotations that you use also should be set up and explained as part of the analysis. Don't just drop a quote into your essay and then let it to be examined by the reader on their own. Instead, you should examine why you've selected that quote to talk about and explain it as part of your analysis of the essay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the writing, the structure of your writing. In Transitions to College Writing, in Chapter 6, you'll notice a little examination of the distinctions between footstools and furniture. Footstools are perfectly acceptable for supporting feet and maybe your book or two. They're simple to make. This is in reference to the classic 5-paragraph essay that you are very skilled at writing by now. I'm sure of it. But the 5-paragraph essay is not particularly versatile. A footstool does not function well as a bed or a bureau. The essay that we're asking you to write is different from the classic 5-paragraph essay. Now, while that might be a perfectly acceptable structure for you to begin with, we are asking you to evolve beyond the 5-paragraph essay so that your essay responds in a more versatile way to the prompts that we're posing here. So with that in mind, you'll notice that we aren't making an explicit mention of a thesis statement. Now, let me explain a little bit about that. That is not to say that you won't have a thesis statement. You likely will. But it's important to make some distinctions here. Not all forms of writing require a thesis statement. Narrative essays, for example, or autobiographies don't typically have a thesis statement. Having a clear, convincing argument is a requirement for a thesis statement, and we are asking you to have a clear, convincing argument. If you do have a clear, convincing argument, that means that you are likely to have a thesis statement, but we really want to emphasize the clear, convincing argument that you are making, your position, your stance. We are asking for you to aim to unravel the idea that a thesis is just one single sentence. So we're not asking you to identify a single sentence that's going to hold up all of the elements of your essay. In fact, a thesis statement might be a collection of statements. It might be several sentences that build up your argument. Your engagement with the themes in this essay do require that you take a rhetorical stance. And what I mean by that is a dialogical stance, or a stance in dialogue that may get restricted if we ask you to narrow your claims to a single thesis statement. And so just highlighting here that we are asking you to be in dialogue with Coates. We are asking you to be in dialogue with Coates's ideas. So you'll read in Transitions to College Writing, if not now, you'll read it in your first year writing class, that there are different ways to go about writing an essay. So I'm just going to highlight a few of these, and you might want to refer to your book as you begin to write your essay for this class, for the first year seminar. Instead of just choosing a topic, you're going to be asking questions of your topic. So you've been given a prompt. You should now ask questions of your prompt. What are the follow-up questions that you want to engage with when you've selected the prompt that you're going to examine? This essay doesn't require that you locate sources to cite for your essay, but if you do have a source, make sure that it is well connected to your stance, well connected to the argument that you're making. So for example, if you use data, or for example, the racial dot map, or use Race, the Power of Illusion, the documentary, as a source in your essay, make sure that you are citing it for the quality that it provides, not to prove that you know how to cite a source. And instead of reading and taking notes throughout the essay in the writing of your essay, you might consider taking purposeful notes, selecting passages that really lend themselves well to crafting your own position to the prompt. And we are not asking that you create a traditional outline. Instead, we are asking that you plan your writing while you are conducting your research. In this case, the research is the rereading of Coates's essay. So we are asking instead that you produce a paper proposal which could very well be an outline of your paper, but also could be just a description of what it is that you intend to do in your own response to the essay. So here's the process for writing this essay. You're going to begin with a well-developed paragraph that takes into consideration the elements of the chosen essay prompt and details the in-process argument. So in other words, we're asking for you to write a paragraph that tells us your intentions for the paper. What do you intend to prove, or what do you intend to reveal in the paper that you write? Then we are asking that you provide either a detailed outline or some brief paragraphs that describe how you'll introduce the claim that you're making in your well-developed paragraph. So here we're asking that you develop the ideas for your reasoning and what ideas you have for supporting the stance that you take in answering the prompt. You might also include in this proposal some paraphrases or quoted material from the letter essay that you might use as your supporting evidence to help craft your argument. These passages might inform or bolster your reasoning. You might also paraphrase or quote other types of course materials, but again, it's not required that you draw from other sources. If you do this, it's really important that you cite your sources, and you should represent those sources in a works cited page at the end of your essay. And your first-year seminar instructor can help you do this, as well as the folks in the writing studio and your peer mentor from the writing studio.